Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming.
Only chance Kenyans have to change this country because we are
Wajackoya the fifth, very nice.
Underestimating the power of the unknown. My God who works with me knows the answers, and I'm the next president of this country.
always done what I've promised. For the last 62 years I've lived in this world. Whenever I promise you something, I'll do.
Youth washaamua kuwa Wajackoya the fifth. Mimi nishaamua Wajackoya the fifth, okay? 2022, this feature will be...
Professor, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I know you've been quite busy on the ground.
Yes, I've even lost my voice, but life continues. We are in the last Kipindi Lala Salama.
And I've seen you've really pared down a bit on your weight.
Yeah, it's a bit straining. But I've also been doing exercises when I'm campaigning.
Yeah, you've pared down on your tone.
Yes, and dancing has also helped me to come down because there's a lot of fat in my system.
So you discovered?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
So how has it been? We have only 4 days to go. Are you feeling that, yes, this is it and everything has been fair to you as far as the system is concerned? You've been meeting with the IBC. You have all the stockholders now on the table. What are some of the questions, the bigger questions that you do have that you want maybe to take this opportunity to express them?
First of all, I'm very thankful to my media team, led by Jemo Ulemze. I'm equally thankful to the guys who have volunteered to work with me. But I'm very disappointed with the presidential debate team because what they did is they did not consult the stakeholders as to participate as per the constitution,
yes,
as to what was going to happen. They came up with this weird numbers saying that they were going to rely on opinion polls and then they dissected the opinion polls to a certain percentage. But they didn't call me. I don't know whether they called Raila, I don't know whether they called Honorable Ruto, or if they called Maure, but I did not agree to the whole thing. How can the media team, after getting lots of money from donors, bisect democracy? While the IBC gave us equal opportunities, we paid the same amount of money, same signatures, same everything. And now the people who expected at the fourth estate comes in working at the whims of certain political imaginaries to come and say, okay, we shall now make it this way. Ruto and Raila this way, Maure and Wajackoya this way. They didn't tell us. We wrote them letters for clarification. They never even answered. And then I went there at the last minute because I thought that silence meant everything. So when I went there to find out, they even kicked me out. They kicked my lawyers out.
What do you mean they kicked you out?
I mean, when my lawyer, Mr. Danson Omari, was trying to ask one of them for an opportunity to speak, he was denied. He was told, no, this day is for Wajackoya alone. We are not listening to lawyers. So if you can imagine, a whole team of senior media cadre behaving like people who never went to school. How much money? What I would like to know if I take over the presidency, I will want to do a very serious investigation from the Media Council and the Editors Guild. I want to know how much money they were given to run the whole operation. Who did what? How did they arrive at that decision? Who made what? And if I find those who are culpable, trust me, they will face the rule of law. Because in the UK, US, Canada, presidential candidates are lumped together so that they can speak and people can judge from their body language, the way they answer questions, the way they articulate issues. But why would you want to come in and play a scheme?
So it's his assessment that this was unfair. It was not an even...
It was undemocratic, unfair. I've given interviews to CNN, Washington Post, Reuters, and they were like, this is the Kenyan journalists for you. So they have made a Mickey out of themselves.
What do you mean this is the Kenyan journalists?
Because it never happens outside the country. It was only outside in civilized world, including India and even Uganda here. It only happens in Kenya.
But why did you choose to go there, you know, at the last minute?
Yes, that's
you had all this time to do that. If they wrote you, or you'd written your letters and they were not responded to, you knew where to find, you know, the Presidential Debate Secretariat and ask those pertinent questions. Well, you think you appearing the last minute will have made any difference?
Thank you very much for asking that question, because neither of us is a fool. I'm an academic. We wrote them a letter on 26th. They never responded.
26th of July?
Yes. Then we thought probably we were going to be lumped together. Then we wrote them another letter on the same day, the day before. They never responded. So silence to us.
Was it not cutting it too close for you as well?
No, but if I write you a letter on 26th, how long does it take? Do you want to tell me that those people cannot read? Of course, we had acknowledgement. That means they acknowledged the letter, they received the letter. They ought to have discussed it and then responded to us. Then I would not have wasted my time. But by keeping quiet up to the 2 days and us writing them another letter, them not responding to us, it was like, no problem, just come, it will be. And then they kept on telling us, they kept on communicating to Jemo that they were meeting and they would give up a solution. Up to midnight is when they sent a text to Jemo telling him that they'll wait until tomorrow.
But here is an opportunity you've been given by the Presidential Secretariat, that is the debate. And you don't show up on the material day because you say you want an even kill, but on the in the same breath also you're complaining that the media is not giving you a fair coverage. This is an opportunity that is coming from the media.
An opportunity which is skewed, a lame duck opportunity for people who have already skewed themselves to kill the debate. For me, a lunatic, a professor of law, a lawyer, a father, to appear to please them, and hell no. I refused, and I still stand firm. If I didn't do that, then how would people now find out? The question is, why didn't they respond to my letters? Secondly, why did they take me for a fool? Was it the popularity I was seeking for? No.
But you're using such a verbiage as a fool there. I mean,
No. The word a fool is somebody who never went to school. If you talk to me and I don't talk to you, that means I'm taking you like a fool.
But going to school does not really also...
Okay, if I don't go to school, you're talking to somebody who is...
people who they've not...
No.
But,
I look like a fool because I was taken for a fool. But I wanted my rights. And demanding my rights is something I cannot compromise. But anyway, that is past me now. They achieved what they wanted, and I'm still continuing. I'm no longer complaining because I was not born to complain. But I want this thing never to happen again in our democracy. If it has to happen, then involve stakeholders. It's a discussion because some of these opinion poll agencies are skewed.
Right, we will come to that, come to that. But moving forward then, what will be that one message that you will give to the presidential debate organizers that going forth, maybe for the next election, how they should handle it? Maybe this is a good lesson to learn as well.
Yes, I think this should be anchored in law. Yeah, that part actually, whichever new parliament comes in, they should look into it and anchor it into law. Then things will be that way, even though...
Like other jurisdictions that you have the Presidential Debate Commission?
Yes, because public interest demands. In UK, if you are called to go for a debate and you refuse, you can refuse with reasons which are subject to public scrutiny. And if issues are raised in court, if somebody petitions the court, the court will apply strict scrutiny. And the body that is enseized of will have to go to show public interest. And that public interest will come into security interest, in which case you are being asked to lead. You are being asked, you have become yourself, you have brought yourself out and given yourself to the public to have confidence in you. Therefore, public interest is overridden by strict scrutiny, which is national security kind of, because you are going to lead a nation. Therefore, you have to do to the will of the people.
Okay. Yes. Right, thank you. Okay, we're past that junction right now, and that is a good also idea that you're putting forth. Maybe should be anchored in law. If you're the president, how would you make sure that is actually shaken into place? That you have it in law?
Kenyans will speak about it. Kenyans will decide whether they want that anchored in law. Parliament will have to discuss that. It is not a one-man kind of game. You can see what happened with the Conservative Party in the recent elections in London, where the 3 candidates from the Conservative Party refused to go for debate, and they all gave reasons. And if somebody challenged them in court, he could have challenged them. But I didn't follow it from there.
Right. You say you want to anchor it into law, but also on the same breath, you don't believe in the same law, like the Constitution. You say this should be done away with. We don't need the Constitution as it is. Is it some pockets of the Constitution or the Constitution in its entirety?
No. Every Constitution is subject to amendments. The United States Constitution has been amended 14 times. It doesn't mean they have abrogated the Constitution. The UK Constitution is not written. It runs by conventions through the royal prerogative, subject to judicial review, whereby whoever is amended with the side of the law or unwritten Bill of Rights can go to court and ask the court to review. And that review goes up to the House of Lords, which is something that is very rigid. But in this country where we are at the moment, you'll find out that there are some sections of the Constitution that kill the Constitution itself, especially and particularly the judiciary. Reforms are there, procedures are there, but then what is the method of application? Why would you have a case take so long in our court system than any other jurisdiction in the world? There's a case of IBC versus the Chicken Gate case, if you remember. It has not even been concluded. It has overridden 2 elections, whereas people who are involved in that case were actually taken before, in UK, were taken before the court. The system worked out, the judicial system worked out. Those found guilty were jailed, and they even finished. What's wrong with our Constitution? So we'd like our Kenyan people, our brothers and sisters, to look into it and find out which area is actually not working for us. How do we look for it? And that's what I said. I did not say that we just abrogate the whole Constitution. We have to review like any other country and see what can come out. Yes.
So it's not really the entire Constitution,
No.
because I think the perception that we had out there is like, when Wajackoya, is given the baton, then we will not really have.
I've been taken to court. I was taken. I've been taken to court. I have now 6 cases pending. People thinking I'm mad. What have you? And they're being dismissed every day. The latest one was dismissed on 29th. Where some
what nature of cases
well,
are this?
Kenyan lawyers, my colleagues, through the church and some of my opponents, filed a petition in court for the court to order IBC to take me for psychiatric examination, analysis, because they see that I'm a mad person. The judges are like, what kind of thing is this? They throw it out. I don't even bother going there. Things that were meant to distract me, things that were meant to, even in my party, a lot of things are happening now, but I'm not really bothered, because things that are meant to distract somebody, you do away with them. Otherwise, if they are not there, then the party is not really moving forward. Yes.
Okay. So let's just go back to you. We have only 4 days to go.
Yes.
And we wanted to see if we were given a chance to ask every presidential candidate, are they happy as far as the system is concerned? That is, the IBC is a critical component of this particular election. You, all the presidential candidates, you've been before them or even their agents, you're one of them. Are you happy right now before the material day?
With the IBC, I'm 100% happy with them. Chepkati has done a wonderful job.
Okay.
So are the commissioners. I've had no problem. Any complaint I've had, I've actually gone to them, sat down with them with my lawyers, and resolved the issues. But any other thing I don't see. What I don't agree with is the media and the opinion poll.
We'll come to the opinion poll. Yes, we'll come to the opinion poll. So you are home and dry as far as IBC is concerned, and you're ready?
Ready to be elected on Tuesday as the next president of this country. Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations, and of course, I wish you well on that as well. Now, you were in the U.S. Recently touring some of the marijuana farms. And what was the intention of this visit?
Yes, I just wanted to find out how it is done. Because when I spoke about marijuana, it was blown out of proportion. The church in particular did not read our manifesto to understand what kind of marijuana we were advocating for. We were not advocating for the smoking aspect. And even if it was for smoking aspect, the smoking aspect was the medicinal one. The one which when you take, it detoxes you, not making you high. I was also talking about the commercial aspect. I was asking myself, why is it that those countries that have marijuana, a certain classification of marijuana, not Jamaica, the Jamaica marijuana is actually lower than tobacco. It has no financial or commercial value. I was looking at countries like Israel, Canada. Why is it that Israel economy has done so well? Only to realize that Israelis depend solely on hemp, which is a product, on fiber, which is a product of hemp, which comes from marijuana, to develop their commercial enterprises, military armaments, housing, bricks, brakes, cars, everything, water tanks, pipes, everything in Israel is made from marijuana hemp. And then when it comes to food, almost all food in Israel is made from hemp, the byproducts. I now came and looked at Canada and I said, well, Canada has legalized marijuana, both for commercial and recreation. But how did they advance themselves into recreation? Recreation just came recently after 15 years that have been growing. And last year alone, they got $480 billion US revenue from marijuana, which prompted, the first 5 years when they were growing marijuana, it prompted the US Congress to pass legislation allowing states, because marijuana is under Article 10. The growth of marijuana in the US is a national security issue. And when it comes to policing is not within the realms of Congress. Every state can apply police powers to actually legislate on what is conducive for them. And that's why a few states, 23 states in the US, also applied Article 10 or 13 of the US Constitution to legalize the growth of marijuana for hemp products, for fiber products, for clothing products, for food products. So recently I was prompted to go to the US. I was invited by these companies to go to the US, and I went to see how it is done. And I was like, wow, what I've been talking in Kenya or saying in Kenya is not even nearer what I've seen. So when I saw that and I saw the rigidity, the rigidity of their regulations, the strictness, the codes involved, it's not as easy as people may think. And I was like, now, how would we do it in Kenya? I looked at their legislation, very restrictive. Not just everyone can plant marijuana. They have warehouses in gazetted and designated areas. They have no-go zone areas.
Yes.
Because marijuana also is very sensitive. If you walk in the way you are, the plant dies. You have to be put in a certain gear. Marijuana is addictive to hair. That's why when I went, I think you saw the pictures, I had to be put into that. They had to look at it.
So these are certain species of marijuana, because we have different species of marijuana, isn't
Yes,
it?
we do.
Yep. All right. Thank you for that. But I wanted to know, this particular company that invited you, because people are saying, you know, Wajackoya is being sponsored by the big pharma. That's why they're sponsoring. You are here to clarify. This is what is in the public domain. You're being sponsored by the big pharmas here or worldwide to make sure that, yes, this particular marijuana message is being steamrolled and shaken into place and people buy it in this country. First of all, this company, did they just invite you out of their own volition? Are they aware that you're running for the presidency? That's why they called you? Or how did you get in touch with this particular? Which company is this, by the way?
That's a good question. I think, what is the name? It should be Mint.
The mint cannabis.
Yes. You know, a lot of people say a lot of things. And in Kenya, as you know, during elections, we in the political arena, kuna a lot of dirt which can be, like, Maron, me, you, and I'll start this way before I go to that question. Like in my party, I have people who are moles. We know who they are.
In your party?
Information. And of course, I have been a spy. So a spy, to be spied on, is something that is very difficult. We've had people who have come in with the hidden agendas. We look at them and we starve them of information. Now, coming to your question, and I was relating to what you are saying, that there was that speculation that I'm being sponsored. No, my wife is an American citizen. We live in Phoenix, Arizona. My wife is a born-again Pentecostalist. She goes to church with some people who grow hemp. Some of her church members know that her husband is running for election. And they have been very much in the know because they want to know how things are going. So when the marijuana thing came in, one of them who happens to be a pastor was like, we need to bring this man in. We need to show him how this thing is grown. So they asked my wife if I could fly in. And because my wife works with the airline industry, they made these arrangements way before, but I couldn't get time. So I flew in, as I always fly anyway, because I go to the US almost 2-3 times a month, because I'm a green card holder. If I overstay, then there's a penalty to that. They will take away my green card, just like I go to the US, to the UK, where I have indefinite leave to remain. So I used this opportunity when I was going to renew my visa. And I went, and they showed me. And they told me, look, if you guys pass legislation, then we are willing to help. There was nothing like sponsor. If they sponsored me, would I really be suffering right now, driving from one part of Kenya to another part? I'll be flying. But you know what? Let people say what they have to say. It doesn't bother me.
All right. Well, attached with that is a question also of your wealth, because we've seen on social media, you've been posting, pictures of you with your Bentley, with, some of, watches, just even the jewelry itself. And it seems a lot of your wealth is stashed away in America, right? Why would you also put a lot of your wealth in America and not here in the country?
Let me tell you this. My wealth is this. Nothing more. Anything on my body is material. Now, if you came to my office in Karen, and you see the way I built my office, you go to my office in London, you see the way I built my office in London. You go to my office in the US, you go to my homes in UK and US, which I acquired before even I came back here. I mean, the little that I have, like, people have never ascended. Things like watches, when I die, I'll leave them here. These are things that I take because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I've never smoked, I don't eat meat, I don't eat fish. This is my lifestyle. But in Kenya, those who know me, sometimes I go by border. The issue of a Bentley, that's an old car. The vehicles I have are really old. I can even put up the registration. But must I discuss what I acquired before I came into politics? That this is what have you? It's just like the other day, 3 friends of mine who are brothers, the Karanjas in Nakuru, people who joined Roots Party in 2009, when I was talking of Shake the Tree. The Karanjas, one of them was studying medicine at Caracas University in Venezuela. And the kid became so much intrigued by what I was doing in the US. So they joined me in my Shake the Tree movement, which now later became Roots Party. And when I came back, of course, the Karanjas, I have to send a message of condolences because their mom and sister died in the plane crash, the Ethiopian plane crash here. So when the Karanjas realized that I was going to campaign in Nakuru, all the brothers came up with their Prados to help me go my way, which I went straight to what have you. You know what people said? The media started calling me, asking me, oh, Professor, tell us about those Prados. Where did you get them from? Now the tag of being sponsored by state or Raila or Ruto came down.
Okay.
So I am in there fighting a very murky wars, but I'm not regretting why I'm there because through that I've learned a lot. I've learned people who just came into my party thinking that I had a lot of money to give them. When they realized that there was no money,
right.
So they went to other parties.
So this solely, it is out of your own resources that you're running this campaign.
I've never worked.
Because we've had, and we know some other candidates, many of them, when we had all that list of the presidential candidates, and then they were pared down to 4. Some of them were, were being sponsored by the evangelicals from the, from around the world, churches, and they're different people who are sponsoring. So it's good to just clear the air, and we know that Wajackoya is not being sponsored by any big pharma who are trying to push this particular agenda of marijuana in the country. But my next question will be...
No, can I come to that? If I was sponsored, our national security intelligence will know, and they will advise appropriately. I have been in that system, and our Kenyan NSIS system is the best in the whole world. You cannot even live under the bed, and if I was lying, they'll bring out the information through another way. But those who know me, and those who are very close to me, like Jamo, and those who have worked with me for the years I've been here, they will, and those who are struggling with me in the campaign, they will tell you this is, oh my goodness. But people are subject to say what they want to say.
All right. Okay, let's just come to the cannabis itself. Do you have a cannabis master plan?
Definitely.
How does it look like?
Right now, I think if I had it, I would have come with the drawing, but I didn't come with it. It's very complex. It's a very complex entity. It's not like what we say, because it involves very stringent
I don't need the entirety of that particular master plan, because we know countries like South Africa, and we've had this discussion before, they have a master plan. I think this is a subject of a conversation also in Parliament of South Africa, with the blessing of Cyril Ramaphosa. And I wanted just to know, how does yours look like? If you could just point out 3 overarching, points from your cannabis master plan, what will that be?
One is the agricultural aspect. The first one is the legal aspect, restrictions, laws, and licensing. The second one is the supervision aspect. That is agriculture coming in and the requirements required. And the third one is the land aspect and the area where it has to be grown, gazetted restrictions and what have you. Apparently in Kenya, there are only 3 areas that have been identified, not everywhere. The best is Nyamira. Nyamira's cannabis, from what I was told by the US farmers, from their statistics and research, they say that the best cannabis, quality cannabis in the whole world comes from Nyamira. And the prices would be very, very high. The second one is around Nanyuki in Nyeri. And then the third one is in Bunyore, in Kakamega, in Vihiga County. Yes. So they're saying that if we were to pass legislation to allow that, before we go to the strict control, those areas will be gazetted first. And then after gazettement, restrictions will apply. And after restrictions, then now, the warehousing system, which will require a lot of money, not just that you grow and then what have you. There's so many restrictions. So our master plan is, 1 is the legislation and the restrictions that come with it. 2 is the areas to be gazetted. 3rd is the farm area, and then the last one is the market. So that if it's harvested, passing through all that, we do not want to touch on the industrial aspect. We want to harvest it and give it and throw it out of the country through exports.
Right. Yeah. Is there any dedicated zone? It's good that you mentioned those areas, Nyamira. Is there any dedicated zone that, and hectares of land? We have just our neighbors across here in Rwanda. They have 124 hectares of land that they've dedicated for a marijuana plantation. I was wondering if maybe you are to tell us today that this particular zone is, when you are thinking, maybe it's in your master plan, that will be dedicated for a marijuana plantation?
The Mount Kenya region, first and foremost. Because if you look at Nyamira, there's overpopulation in the area, and it will require logistics. Whether we shall do the small-scale farming, because we can't do large-scale farming in Nyamira because of the population. So is Bunyore. But in Mount Kenya region, we have regions that are so huge that we can look into it. We can also look into northeastern, especially in the Moyale areas, and those land bordering Ethiopia, because in Ethiopia they are also producing it. So we shall look at areas where we have diversification of land, logistics, and what have you.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to know, first of all, when we talk about, now we come to the polls. Yesterday, we had that particular poignant question that people were asking. Has Wajackoya endorsed presidential candidate, Right Honorable Raila Odinga? And people were feeling like, oh, maybe now you've actually disappointed your followers at the end of the day. But now you're here to clear the air. You think this messaging was not right? You came out saying, oh, so you starkly denied that particular revelation that was there.
You know, I'm in a land of opposition. I've opened up a lot of Facebook accounts on me.
Yes.
Twitter accounts on me, and Jemo has already written to the Twitter to verify the account, which is now verified. He has also written to Facebook and other social media. The things that I've said, which I'll accept and I'll stand by them, I have acknowledged all my colleagues. I've acknowledged Ruto when I was in Eldoret, the good side of it. I've also asked the government to leave Ruto alone, especially when it comes to his final rallies. I've asked the government why they should be closing out Ruto from major areas like Buhungu Stadium and the stadiums in Nairobi, which was genuine from my heart. And when I said that, there's many people said I was Ruto's project. Now, when I went to Nyanza in Bondo and a club in Kisumu, I praised Raila, and I will still praise Raila, and I will praise him right now. I actually thanked Raila for what he has done for this country. I told the people that some of us enjoy this freedom because this man has sacrificed. And I was trying to tell them that I'm the kind of leader who will acknowledge what somebody else has done. I then also put a rider by telling Raila that when it comes to governance, he was actually, one of the reasons why he left the debate was that he did not want to sit with Ruto because Ruto was corrupt. And also Ruto did not want to go into the issues of governance. But then I was also asking Raila in that club when I was, that how comes you are talking of, you have denied going to the debate with Ruto because of governance, yet in ODM we have a lot of issues. There are people who have run for elections, people who have prepared, and then you just tell these people to step aside and you give your cronies certificates to run. That in itself is nepotism, that itself is corruption. And I told this to Raila in Bondo. Now, when I said all these things, what does Raila's cronies do in the media? They pick up something and they feed the non-existing Wajackoya on Twitter. Wajackoya now endorses. And of course, you know who runs NTV. It's Raila's relative. And I'm not going to go into details on that because that would not be necessary.
Yes.
NTV comes up and says, Wajackoya endorses Raila. But did they verify information with me? At least, the while you're asking me questions. Had they asked me before twittering, they would have seen something. But now, I don't know what they're going to say because I'm asking my supporters to come up in large numbers. Now, my other opponents group takes that, and of course I know I have moles in my group. I've been looking at them, but I can't chase them away. Now they come up, oh, you are endorsing Raila, I will endorse Ruto. It's their own democratic principle, and that's a non-issue as far as I'm concerned. What I know is that I am on the ballot.
You are on the ballot.
Kenyans should vote in big numbers. Whoever feels that wants to go to Kenya Kwanza from my team or go to Raila's team, the door is wide open. After all, in 2012, when I went home and I found my mother wearing Musalia Mudavadi's t-shirt, yet I was also running, I was like, So I said, Mom, you're serving me with food, but what is this t-shirt you're wearing? Then she was like, me, I gave birth to you, but I'm supporting Musalia Mudavadi. Then, as if that was not enough, I went to my home before my dad passed recently, and my father was telling me, my son, you are in my home. Here is Raila's own, because of his father. So don't bring politics. Now you see my late father supporting Raila, and my mother supporting Mudavadi. What else? So similarly in my group, if people think that they can go to Kenya Kwanza, let them go. But what I know is that the people who make decisions in Roots Party are the National Executive Council. Some of these people making noise, they're not even on National Executive Council. And unless the National Executive Council sits down and approves, there's nothing I can do. So we are going to the elections. After the elections, if we win, we shall become, but we shall also need Raila and Ruto on board. Because we need to talk to them to harmonize peace in this country. We need each other.
Thank you. All right. Yeah. So it is good. You've made the clarity that you are still on the race and you've not really endorsed. This was a misinformation on social media as it is. Thank you very much. Okay. But I wanted just to put a follow-up question. You mentioning Raila in your campaign trails, especially with your messaging. When you talk about you praising Raila, your maybe in Bondo or maybe his home turf at the end of the day. Don't you think people will think, this is all about perception and optics and message, people will read their own message from what you are trying to deliver on that particular podium, wherever you are, that maybe Wajackoya is leaning towards, Raila Odinga. Maybe Wajackoya is a project that we've suspected him to be. Why is he praising or talking about Raila? It should be about him and him alone.
Yes,
it is politics.
You see, the kind of politics are brought in this country are unconventional politics, not conventional. You can see that during my campaigns, and if you follow me, you'll find out that whenever I reach in a place, like I was in Embu, Meru, and today I'm going to Nanyuki, tomorrow I'll be in Tarakaniti, as soon as I stop, I call all aspirants in the area. Who is UDA, who is Azimio, who is independent, who is Jubilee, come. The podium is here. We are all Kenyans. And they have responded very well. Now, when I went to Eldoret the other day, and you saw that it was very amazing,
yes,
I spoke of Uhuru Kenyatta. I told Uhuru Kenyatta, you know what? We want you to also to account for Brookside. We also want you to tell us what happened in KCC.
Yes.
Because the people who are affected most are people from Rift Valley, the farmers. I also told the government to leave Ruto alone, because Ruto is a Kenyan, and in which case he should be given the right to go any other place like some of us. Nothing happened. Was I not talking good? To them I was not talking good. There's many people took that and said, and when I reached Bondo, I repeated what I said the first time I went to Kisumu. You know, Kisumu is a tough area to manage. Even the other day, the deputy president was stoned there, the first time. I was in a place whereby you can be killed anytime, because those people know nothing other than Raila Odinga. So my advisors were advising me, say like this, and say like that. The first one, I said it to escape stones.
All right.
The second one, I said it because what I stood for was the truth.
All right. So
what is wrong with
it was for your own survival.
Yeah, but the second one, I meant it. Because Raila has done good. Ruto has also done good.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the question of also, still, before we come to the info track and other polls as well, I wanted to ask the messaging on the marijuana. If I may just go back a bit, because you've been also on record saying when you get to State House, you'll take the first, shot there, puff it. Yes. It will be the first one in your entire life, and the smoke will be bellowing in all the rooms of State House to cleanse State House. When you give such messaging, then what do you expect from the populace to decipher this message?
Hope
they will think that you're trying to tell Kenyans, you can go easy and just smoke freely marijuana.
No.
So could we say you started on a wrong-headed state when you're talking about your messaging on marijuana? Maybe it was not well packaged.
No.
That's why the people received it wrongly.
No. It's well packaged. When I said I'll smoke, and I mean it, I will.
You will. Okay.
And what I meant is there is that detox, which is medicinal, which has no effect in the brain. When you puff it, it's legal that particular time, because you shall be waiting for legislation. You can import medicinal marijuana and detox yourself.
But
so what I meant by that is, yes, I will smoke it in State House to remove the devils of colonialism, the devil of...
So this is ritualistic, so to speak.
Yes, like it happens in Israel anyway.
All right. But it has not been very clear where is the demarcation line between medicinal and recreational marijuana.
Now you've said it.
Now you've said it. Okay, let's leave it at that. Now we have info track poll, which is showcasing the presidential popularity that came out yesterday. Of course, that is the last day that the polls are allowed legally to be carrying out their pollsters or the ratings as well as it is. Now, I just want to ask you a question. It is projecting that Raila is the most popular candidate right now. It's been broken down there at 49% and 42%, and there is 6% there. Let me just pick that to boom it so that also you can see as well. Is the undecided.
Where is me? Where is me? What does that tell you? This info track stuff and what have you, they're just all a bunch of guys who make money. They're businessmen. The other day when Barack Muluka, a very highly respected journalist, talked of how they doctor it, when he was the Secretary General of the ANC, how they used to come in asking them for funds to doctor the things. I've also been asked for $1 million to doctor. So who believes in this kind of thing?
$1 million to doctor by who? What do you mean?
Those guys. First of all, what they're doing is illegal. They never asked me how they were going to carry polls on me. They never asked Raila. Maybe they did. Maybe they did to Ruto. But me and my colleague Maure, who has confirmed to me, they never asked him. So whoever believes in this, and after all, every elections they come out, and those guys always lose. Even last election it was Raila, didn't he lose? Even the previous election it was Raila. Who believes in this? We don't believe in this.
So you don't buy it?
I don't buy it. This is a bunch of crap.
All right, that is Wajackoya, and that is your statement at the end of the day. So you don't believe it?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Even the deputy president has said.
Okay, I got a few minutes now to wind up and just ask you one question. Especially when it comes to your belief. People are not very clear what you do believe, because we've had different facets of you talking about Hare Krishna. We've had you talking about being a Christian. What is your position when it comes to religion? And what is your philosophy that you're coming with to this particular leadership if you'll be given the baton? What is your one?
Religion means doing good things. Religion means being humble. Religion means having integrity, but not being a hypocrite. That I'm so religious, I'm a Christian, yet you are doing the opposite. That's not me. Let me be judged by what I believe in and what I do.
What do you believe in?
I believe in doing the right thing, I believe in integrity, and I believe in being honest. And I think Jesus subscribed to that, Prophet Muhammad subscribed to that, the Hare Krishna subscribes to that, Christianity subscribes to that. But I cannot come here and say, oh, I'm this, born again, or no. Just do the right thing.
All right, so you don't have any religious persuasion?
Unless
that we know
the definition of religion, according to Longman Dictionary, which is an American version, or Oxford Dictionary, which is an English version, which talks of religion as doing the right thing, believing in certain entity, believing in you. Now, let me say this. If you go to the churches today, like the Roman Catholics, you'll find a statue of Virgin Mary, made out of cement. Yet people talk of idols. Is that not an idol?
All right, let's not approach into that subject, because I think now we'll be getting a bit philosophical. But what is your one philosophy that you want to bring to your leadership?
Integrity.
Integrity, thank you. We have just 4 days to go. You'll be having your final rally that will be on Sunday. I wanted to know, what will be your final message for Kenyans?
Come out in large numbers and vote, and please don't go into violence. I've had millions of people throughout the country coming to my rallies, and no stone has been thrown at me. People have not fought, no police records. So if I've done something very peacefully, please come and vote out peacefully. But vote for me, because you know your destiny is guaranteed. Thank you.
That will be on Saturday, not Sunday, right? That you'll be telling the people of Kenya as well. But I want to thank you so much. I wanted just to know, because you didn't, from the debate that we had as well, is this the person that will be singing State House? Wearing this, no suits at all? No
suits can come when I go to court, because the court requires me to. But this is me from childhood. I was a street kid. I'm much more comfortable this way than wearing suits. They make me uncomfortable. I have very expensive stuff that I want to give. I just want to be me. You see, when I'm campaigning...
But this is not about you. This is about the office.
What office?
The office of the president.
So?
And you're representing a country. Are we going to change? We've had a tradition of being, having suits.
Having suits and stealing from the subjects, because you want to maintain a presidential image.
So that will be the outlook that will be having.
Look, I have my, let me be free. Like, people are free to wear what they want. You look at the courthouse now. When the former Chief Justice came up and prescribed how lawyers could wear.
But you are just speaking to us one slight portion of a constituent, which maybe the people who believe in marijuana and they believe in cannabis and the smoking of cannabis. This is not the entirety of the population.
Wherever people want to judge me, let them judge me. If you see Raila, you see Maure, you see Ruto, everybody has got his own style of living. This is mine. I choose me to be to be me.
Right. Okay, I give you an opportunity, just 30 seconds to speak to that camera. Yeah, Wajackoya, the first Kenyans. If, God willing, you're the next president of Kenya, what do we expect in 30 seconds?
Thank you very much, Dibal. I'm appealing to the whole nation to ignore opinion polls and vote for me on that day. Vote for this man. You have your destiny changed once and for good. The young people and the old people alike, you're all Kenyans. My opponents, both Ruto, Raila, and Maure. I love you all. I don't hate you. I'll never speak ill of you. Politics is politics. Let's work as a group. Let's not go into violence. And tonight, I will be at Moran Club in Nanyuki to pass my message. Tomorrow, I'm finishing with Tarakaniti. Normally, I don't tell people where I'm going. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right. Professor Wajackoya, thank you. And all the best in this last-ditch effort to make sure that you get that particular baton. Thank you very much for your valued company. We've been speaking to Professor George Wajackoya, and of course we know Saturday is the D-Day when they'll be giving their last stamp speeches on the ground as well. We shall be keeping you posted here on KTN News, the most trusted brand as well, where we have the whole story for you. Thank you for your valued company.
Thank you.
Calling it the Wajackoya effect.
Kidogo nasikia 1 million Wajackoya, 2 million.
Hey, he must be the most genius I've ever seen in my life.
Kwenye comment hapo na nataka comment Wajackoya the 5th. Kwenye comment section, just give me Wajackoya